What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about my top picks for each position. But before we start with the list, just keep in mind that every shoe can be worn for every position and it comes down to play styles more than it comes down to positions in my personal opinion. With that out of the way, we're going to start with the point guards. So these are 4 shoes that I think point guards will enjoy the most. The first one being the Nike Ja Free. Retail price is 125 euros or dollars. Design is 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion, and the performance is also good. We have a full-length Ja logo pattern, which provides excellent traction indoors. However, the durability is not good enough for outdoors, so I really wouldn't take these outdoors. The cushioning setup is what makes these stand out on the list in my opinion. They have full-length ZoomX cushioning. It's actually a dual-layer setup. One layer is recycled ZoomX and the other one is just your regular ZoomX foam. I loved it on the GT Cut 3 already and it's still very nice here. It's not as bouncy, but you still get good impact protection, a lot of compression, and you're still not too high off the ground. The weight is also very decent, so they feel light on foot. They're very flexible. The support is one issue that I had with the shoe, especially torsional support. If you're a really heavy point guard or just a heavier player who wants to get the Ja Frees and who puts a lot of force into their shoes, these are not for you. Everybody else, especially younger players, should be good to go. They are supportive enough. And of course, you can also swap out the insoles. Last but not least, the materials are all synthetic, which I like. They break in nicely and quickly and are very soft around your foot. The fit is rather snug. So if you're a wide footer, there's better options for point guards out there. Moving on to the second shoe, that's the Nike Sabrina Free. I also really enjoyed these, even though they're half a size too small, but the performance feels absolutely amazing. They feel more like the Sabrina 1s and less like the Sabrina 2s, which, I mean, I don't mind in one area, which is support, because they have good torsion support again, but I do mind another, which is just the fit and the feel of the shoe, because the Sabrina 2s were so damn comfortable for wide footers. And if you don't know me, I have extremely wide feet. So these are more narrow yet again. So another great option for narrow footers. Yet again, an option with great traction. Retail is 130 euros at all. So also a very decent price. I like the outsole design with that big eye on there. Just makes for a nice signature shoe if you have details of the signature player there. And the cushioning setup is pretty much the same as on the last 2 models. A small air zoom unit in the forefoot. I think it's a rectangular unit, and just your regular full length foam, which isn't the best. So it's also very low to the ground if you like that. They're also very lightweight. So overall, just a very good shoe from the Sabrina line yet again. The next option here might come as a surprise to some of you, as it's the New Balance Hezi Low Volume 2 in this beautiful all blue colorway. By the way, this is the shoe Cooper Flag is wearing currently, and he's going to wear in his debut as well. They're making a special colorway for him as well, which is pretty cool. And I'm excited to see what New Balance will do for his signature shoe. Back to the Hezi Low Volume 2, very good traction performance, especially on the colorways that have a slightly translucent outsole. This one has in the forefoot, and since you play mostly on your forefoot anyways, that's perfect for me, or the perfect setup for me. It has full-length fuel cell cushioning, which is actually also decently comfortable. Almost even too soft after you break them in. The same goes for the materials. They do take some time to be broken in, but they're very comfortable and very soft. A great thing about these is they have excellent torsional support, a great lacing system as well. It's even customizable with some extra lace loops here. So overall, this is a really cool shoe, retailing for only 120 euros or dollars, and they're on sale almost everywhere right now. So I can highly recommend these for point guards and for every other position that likes a nice cushion shoe in the heel with good court feel in the forefoot, good support and good traction. And last but not least, because I couldn't decide between the Ja Free and the Sabrina Free, I've got 4 options for point guards. All other positions will have 3 options, as it's a little bit easier to narrow that down. For the other positions, in my opinion, the Curry Series 7, I just had to include these. They are more expensive. Yes, they come in at 160 euros or dollars. They have some downsides. The flow outsole is perfect if you're on a clean indoor court. It's not good outdoors, it's not durable at all, and if it's dusty, it's also not the best. However, it has gotten better than on past models, and on a clean indoor court, this is the best traction performance you can get. Full stop. That's all I have to say about traction already. The cushioning setup is also way improved, especially for a Flo and Steph Curry shoe. You've got great impact protection in the heel. It's very comfortable, good stepping comfort as well. And you're still low to the ground in your forefoot. Support is top notch, like on every Steph Curry shoe I have tried, apart from the Curry 2 Retro that was. And the materials are incredibly lightweight. Overall, this is one of the lightest basketball shoes in my collection, and I couldn't do the best shoes for point guards without this one. Now let's move on to the shooting guards. The first pair on the list is my all-time favorite basketball shoe, the Nike Book 1. They retail for 150 euros a dollars, which is a bit more expensive, but they're also going on sale as the Book 2 is right around the corner. By the way, if you're wondering where you can cop all these shoes, you can find affiliate links in the description box down below. And another thing I want to mention is here in the background behind me, you can see some honorable mentions that I also really enjoyed and they were really close to making the top 3 per position, but just didn't fit in, but they're also awesome performers. Back to the book 1, we have a full-length herringbone traction pattern, which is always a good thing. I prefer the colorways with the translucent outsole, as in my opinion, they work better overall. The solid rubber outsoles are better for outdoors, however, and this is definitely a shoe you can take outdoors. For the cushioning setup, that's what I like about them so much. A big air zoom unit in the heel and full-length Cushionlon 3.0. So you're nice, low to the ground and stable in the forefoot with good impact protection if you're doing heel strides or if you're just landing on your heel while running up and down the court. For the materials, it depends on the colorway. I prefer the colorways with synthetic materials as I'm vegan. That means I don't use animal-based products, foods, or materials on basketball shoes. I really like them as they conform to your feet very nicely and very quickly. They're not very breathable, but they're soft and comfortable. Overall, this is one of the most comfortable basketball shoes on the market. And last but not least, the fit is great for wide footers if you go up half a size and your foot is wide in the midfoot area. The toe box is quite narrow, so yet again, there's better options on the list available. But for wide midfooters, go half a size up and you will have one of the most comfortable basketball shoes, I can promise you that. The support is also quite good as we have a midfoot shank plate and you're actually sitting a little bit underneath this high midsole area right here, as that is a big concern for a lot of people with the Nike Book 1. The next 2 shoes on the list are from Adidas, and the first one is a strong contender for best basketball shoe of 2025 as it's the Adidas Dawn Issue 7. I really like this basketball shoe and it's an amazing performer. They come in at 120 euros a dollars, which is also a great price, one of the cheapest options from Adidas with, in my opinion, their best performance as of right now. The outsole features a circular and straight line traction pattern with some translucent and some solid rubber parts. It's not durable enough for outdoors, but indoors it does a very good job. If it's really dusty, you might find yourself sliding a little bit if you don't wipe from time to time, but if it's moderately dusty or clean, you'll get a top tier bite. The cushioning setup is also very comfortable. It's full length Light Strike Pro and you've got a really thick slab in the heel, which kind of makes them similar to the Book 1 because you've got great impact protection in the heel and you're still low to the ground in the forefoot, which is just how I like it. The materials are not very breathable, but that's also not so important for me if the materials are comfortable, supportive, which these are right there. And support is the last thing we're going to talk about. They're also very supportive. You can see this little midfoot shank plate here that goes around the outsole and up on the other side again. So kind of like an outrigger as well. We've got the shroud that doesn't really do anything for support, but the lacing system is excellent with some extra nylon flywire cables, flywire-like cables, I have to say, on the side. And one of them even going here in the back to get rid of heel slip. That was an issue on the Dawn Issue 6. So in my opinion, this really could be the shoe of the year in 2025. I haven't tried all the new releases, but I really like the Dawn Issue 7. And now the last shoe for shooting guards. I said from Adidas, it's the AE2s. I also love playing in these, but I just enjoy the Dawn Issue 7 slightly more. They're also slightly more expensive at 130 euros or dollars, but they also have very good performance. We've got a full-length herringbone traction pattern, some translucent parts, some solid rubber parts. Unfortunately, also not durable enough for outdoors. I forgot to say, go true to size on the Dawn Issue 7, go true to size on these. Here the toe box is a little more narrow. The Dawn Issue 7 is actually also decent for wide footers. For the cushioning setup, we have full-length boost, but it's not as soft as it was on the AE1 highs. It reminds me a lot of the lows. Overall, this shoe feels like an improved version. And why do I say improved version if there's less cushioning? Because you're not as high off the ground. You've got better court feel. You're more stable on the ground as well. You still have a really wide base, and this Adidas it's not called X plate anymore, but you still can see it through the outsole here. So you've got good torsional support. And what makes these an upgrade is that they're way lighter than the AE1s. They got rid of all the excess material, that kind of cheese grater like material on top. They only kept those lines here in the front, on the medial and lateral side of the shoe. And then underneath, we just have an all synthetic fabric material, textile like, and that's exactly what was on the AE1s, but underneath the cheese grater like shroud. One thing that I don't like about them is that the laces are way too long, so I don't know how that happened, because on the A1s it was no issue, and here if I tie them down really tightly, they're just way too long. That's it for the shooting guards. Let's move on to small forwards. The first pair on the list is the 8085 Ultra from Way of Weight. These come in at 140 euros. The retail price is a little bit different depending on where you live. Just check on the official Way of Weight website. And as I mentioned before, you can also find an affiliate link down below, or just use the code LucasSimona10 for a discount. Back to the 8085 Ultra, what makes them great is the traction performance. It's very good. and it should also be durable enough for outdoors. I got some messages about people complaining that the outsole is kind of cracking up or breaking off. That hasn't been the case on my pairs, but I play mostly indoors. Also, just a heads up, if that seems to be the case with you, you can also contact the customer support. They're always eager to help out, because essentially this should be a very durable outsole setup. But what makes them truly great is the drop-in midsole. It's full length, super boom. It's extremely comfortable, got great impact protection, and very bouncy as well. The fit is very narrow, so this is for narrow footers who like to play outdoors with a bouncy cushioning setup. The materials are very thin and comfortable. They take almost no time to break in. And the support features are also very good. We even have some carbon fiber accents in the heel and a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. The next pair I only recently got, it's also from Way of Weight, so the same thing goes for the retail price. It's the Wörthersee 13 Encore, and they come in at 130 euros. But as I said, just check on the official Way of Weight website. They also have a extremely durable outsole, and these do for sure. It's tough always rubber. It's extremely durable and a great option if you play outdoors. The fit here is also way better for wide footers. So if you're a wide footer who wants to play outdoors, these are an amazing option. Also, you've got a very nice cushioning setup with full length boom. They added a midfoot strap. It doesn't do all that much for support, but the lacing system takes care of that, as we have some flywire cables that go down on the side and keep your foot locked in. The materials are a little bit more stiff, so you can definitely also go for the regular Wörthersee 13. It's a great option. I really enjoy them as well, and you can even get them on sale. And they have slightly softer materials, but here it's all synthetic, kind of feels a little bit plasticky. So that was nicer on the all synthetic uppers on the regular Wörthersee 13. But if you break them in, they're also going to be nice and soft. And now the last pair for small forwards is going to be the easy one from Serious Player Only. They're a little bit more expensive. They come in at 170 euros a dollars. Amazing fit for wide footers. Right off the bat, no time to break them in. They're really, these synthetic leather and canvas uppers fit my feet perfectly, and I have extremely wide feet and rarely say a shoe fits me perfectly. The traction performance is also extremely good. They don't really squeak that much, but have an excellent bite. They've got a PU resin-based outsole, which kind of makes for the weird sounds it makes, but also for the great grip. And what makes these special is the cushioning setup, as we have, first of all, exchangeable insoles. You've got an off-court insole and an on-court insole that is in here. The off-court is just a regular Orphalite, and the on-court is more performance-oriented and a little bit more stiff, as you can see, especially here in the midfoot, adds some torsional support. And then we have another drop-in midsole underneath, but this is the only drop-in midsole shoe that I know of that fits your orthotic insole. So if you're playing with an orthotic insole, or if you're like me, who sometimes switches out insoles for Victory insoles, for example, you can just take out this insole, still have the nice benefits of a drop-in midsole shoe, and then slap your own insole in there. So that's overall just amazing. I mentioned the materials already. Traction is also really good. The fit is awesome for wide footers, and the support features are also really, really good. As you can see, they have some flex points here in the forefoot, and the midfoot is perfectly stable. That's just how I want it from a basketball shoe. That's it for the small forwards. Now for power forwards. The first pair for power forwards is the Nike KD 18. It's overall a very similar shoe to the 16 and 17. So if you had a pair of these, they feel almost exactly the same, with some minor tweaks, mostly in the material part. But let's go through it step by step. Retail price is 160 euros or dollars, which is kind of expensive, but you do also get a lot of tech. The outsole pattern is the exact same as on the KD 17. It performs well, but it's not the most durable. So even though the cushioning setup with a thick air zoom unit in the forefoot and an air strobe unit in the heel is great for outdoors, the outsole isn't the most durable, as I said. Now for the materials, here we have an all synthetic upper, a synthetic leather caging here on the outside. It's kind of Air Max 90 inspired, and then some mesh in here. And if you look at them from the top view, they also kind of remind me of a old school running shoe. So I did also think about rocking these off court. The support features are the same as on the 17s as well. We have a top loaded shank plate in the forefoot, which kind of takes for, or which kind of accounts for the cushioning setup in the forefoot taking longer to be broken in, but you still have good torsional support. The lacing system here, it also takes some time to be broken in, essentially because this cage just is kind of a little bit stiff with these synthetic leather materials, but once you do break them in, they lace up very nicely, and I didn't have heel slip or any supportive issues. The next pair on the list might be a little bit of a surprise, as it's a shoe that's not talked about a lot in the LeBron Next Genesis. I enjoy these a lot, and I think they're perfect for power forwards. One thing I don't like is that there's only foam in the heel, but in the forefoot there is a very big air zoom unit, so it's very comfortable. Overall, the shoe has some very comfortable features. The materials are all synthetic and take no time to be broken in. The fit is very nice for wide footers too. Also on the KD18, I forgot to say that. Retail price is 150 euros at all, which is also kind of expensive, but they're also going on sale. So I think you can get all these shoes, or almost all these shoes, for under their retail price. They have a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate, which is awesome. You don't really see that on a shoe in this price range. So they have very good torsional support, and we have Nike sphere cushioning here in the heel, which we also had on the LeBron 20, 21 and the LeBron 22. The outsole is incredibly durable, as it's the same outsole used on one of LeBron's first signature basketball shoes. So these are also a very nice option for outdoors in my personal opinion. And the last shoe for power forwards is the Nike Freak 7. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy these as much, but I actually think they are a solid basketball shoe as long as you're on relatively clean indoor courts. On dustier courts, these do slide out almost constantly. The traction pattern is also kind of weird. It's a mix of a translucent and solid rubber outsole, and to be honest, I don't even know what to call it. Maybe let's say a multi-directional pattern, but I don't really have anything to compare it to. Like for the KD16, we had that clockwork pattern, but here I just don't see it. Maybe it's some Greek mythology things or whatever, but let's call it multi-directional. The cushioning setup is full-length Cushlon 3.0, so this is one of the first Freak shoes, not from the Immortality line, that doesn't have a zoom unit, but I actually really enjoy the cushioning. I think it's going to bottom out relatively quickly, but as long as it's nice and fresh, it is very comfortable. Stepping comfort is great. The materials are all synthetic, nice and soft. One thing that is off about the shoe is the fit. They run long in my opinion, so make sure to go half size down. I went with my usual size and I've got crazy amounts of space in the toe area. One thing that is also nice is that they added a midfoot shank plate. It's a top-loaded shank plate. It's very small, but it does a little bit for torsional support. It's not the best, but as you can see, it actually doesn't flex as much as the past models. So I did enjoy the Freak 7, and I think they're a nice shoe for power forwards or just for players who like a nice and very comfortable shoe that has good traction performance on cleaner courts. I wouldn't take them outdoors. I don't think the pattern is going to be durable enough. Let's move on to the last position, the last three shoes for centers. The first pair I have here is the LeBron 22, and this is about as far away from my playstyle as we're gonna get. I'm a shooting guard. I'm around 6'2", 190 centimeters, about 83, 84, 85 kilograms, depending on the day. And as I said, I prefer shoes that have a good amount of impact protection in the heel, but are very nice and low to the ground in the forefoot, have a good amount of flexibility, but while still being very stable. And these right here are probably the complete opposite. You've got a good amount of cushioning in the heel, a lot of cushioning in the forefoot as well. They're not flexible at all. They are very stable, what makes them good for big men in my opinion. So you got a lot of support, especially because of this huge swoosh here that acts as an outrigger and a shank plate. We've got a decoupled outsole with a translucent traction pattern that works very well indoors, also not for outdoors. The material, synthetic leather upper, is also rather stiff, takes longer to break in, and overall the shoe is just very clunky, a little bit heavy. We do have Nike sphere cushioning, which I like. The fit is actually also decent for wide footers. So in my opinion, this is exactly what a big guy shoe should be like. A lot of cushioning, good traction, very good support, even a little bit more stiff because they just don't move as quickly, or unless you're Victor Wembanyama, we actually have a pair coming up next, as the second pair is the Nike GD Hustle 3, which Victor Wembanyama plays in. I didn't enjoy these because they have too much cushioning and not enough support from the materials, but apparently he can cope with them, so I think they should be a decent option for centers as well. We've got actually 3 cushioning layers in the forefoot, which is crazy. We've got a very thick air zoom unit, then we've got full length zoom stroll, and then we have a Zoom X sock liner like we have on the GD Cut 3 Turbo. So that's really a cushioning overload. The traction performance, kind of like a radial multi-directional pattern, works very well. I actually hooped with them outdoors. Not the best idea because it's not very durable, but I just wanted to test them out and didn't have gym access for a couple of weeks. So it's alright, but they won't hold up that long. The cushioning setup I mentioned already, crazy amounts of impact protection. That really is insane. The upper is extremely thin, not supportive enough in my opinion, unless you're a player who just really needs a lot of cushioning and he doesn't move that much from side to side. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the support features. The torsional support is actually decent, but the upper is just not containing enough in my opinion, and they're also rather expensive. So in my opinion, the other two shoes are better for centers, but if you really want that maximum amount of cushioning, these are the option. They come in at 200 euros or dollars. And now the last shoe for this video is going to be the 361 Joker 1, a really nice performer. You can go for the Joker 1, the Joker 1 SE, or the Joker 1 GT, all of them perfect options. The GT also come in low versions, also the SE, those are also great for guards or forwards, but I wanted to put the regular Joker 1 for centers as it's an amazing pair with a lot of support, very good traction performance, decent cushioning, and soft synthetic leather upper. These break in very quickly, very nicely, unlike the LeBron 22. And as I said, they also come in with a good retail price. And the last thing I really like about them is that they also have a wide foot friendly fit, which of course is very important for me. With all that being said, that's all the shoes that I have for you today. I told you about the honorable mentions already, and you might have noticed that I didn't put any Kobe shoes in this video. For one, they are very hard to get. The next thing is that if you have to buy resale, they are very expensive, and in my opinion, it's just not worth paying 600 euros for one pair of Kobe 6s. Even though I do agree the performance is absolutely amazing, so if you can get them for retail, I can highly recommend that, but just don't get them for resale. And now all that's left for me to say is, if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like, put a thumbs up here on the video, comment your thoughts on my list, and if you did all that and you still want to see more of my content, I'd highly appreciate if you could subscribe to my channel. Have a good one and see you next time.